Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Cutie Art Crusaders for November 27th, 2012. Got it right that time, guys.
Took what, 3 times?
Welcome to the show. We're glad you came out. This week we are unfortunately short one member, but you'll figure out who it is pretty quickly. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and editor of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
I'm FlutterGuy317, and I'm in charge of art submissions and stuff relating to art on the show.
And I'm Burned01. I do all the special guests.
And I'm Pinky Dash, and I do all the questions.
This is too confusing. The visuals here are too confusing.
Yeah. Okay, no, we're missing Burn today. Burn isn't here.
Yeah, we're missing Burn.
It's very sad.
Burn had to go. He probably did some sort of American thing. I don't really know.
So what happened
care.
in America this week? Did something happen in America this week?
No, it didn't.
Okay, that makes sense.
And we're just gonna move on from it.
Yeah.
Because nothing happens in Canada about a month and a half ago, so I think that's fair.
Fair enough.
So,
nothing ever.
anyways, just moving along. We don't have Burned, which means we're all gonna step up our talking game here. We got to fill an hour here without Burned. This is going to be rough.
I got licked by a cow during the week.
What?
This is the first thing you went to?
Well, we have to fill some.
First thing you went to was I was licked by a cow.
I was. It gave me a fright because I didn't realize the cow was behind me.
Oh. And he just licked you out of the blue.
Yeah, it licked my hand. I was leaning on the fence and the cow sort of snuck up behind me and licked my hand.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Well, that was a thing.
Yeah,
That's a
that
great
was
way to
definitely a
start
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, I don't think I could talk about anything else at this point.
No.
I think we could just move on to the art.
Yeah.
Really, really quickly.
Let's just get on with it. So our theme this week,
You ever felt a
originally
cow's
said it
tongue?
It's like sandpapery, isn't it?
No, it's actually
No,
quite.
no,
it's quite
we're
smooth.
moving on from this. No. No.
So we originally said that our theme was going to be crystal ponies, but we were looking through all the art that's online, like all of the art, and it's
All of the art.
very, very hard to find art relating to just crystal ponies. So
Right.
we expanded the theme to be Crystal Kingdom. So basically anything to
Empire.
do with
Get it right, please.
Right.
Crystal
Right.
Empire.
No, it was a Crystal Kingdom.
it was an Empire/Kingdom.
No, they definitely said Crystal Kingdom at least once or twice in the
Yes,
episode.
and they also said Empire. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Jeez, way to go. Way to go, people who make the show. Good job. Okay, sorry, I do have something to say. Who am I supposed to say when I'm mocking someone or congratulating someone for making the show? Because I don't know who exactly makes the show. This makes me a
What?
terrible person for not knowing this.
What?
But like, it's not Hasbro doesn't make the show. They've
it's the hub.
contracted it
not
out.
the hub. DHX.
Yeah, it's DHS. DHX, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Studio B,
Okay,
wasn't it?
so
Studio
I can
B for a
say
while?
way to go DHX.
Yeah.
So I can say that because I keep wanting to say Hasbro and I feel really bad. I've just never really looked it up.
DHX used to be Studio B.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm confused because Studio B used to make it and then they changed the name.
Yeah.
Or they got bought out, didn't they?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't really matter. So, anyways, yeah. So we couldn't find like any art. Apparently, people don't like drawing crystal ponies. I can kind
Yeah.
of get that. They were
Only for the first bit.
depressing. So,
Yeah, it was kind of sad.
Crystal Kingdom in general.
Yes, Crystal Kingdom. It's actually the first piece of art that we have does feature a crystal pony, and
The only one we could find.
yeah,
basically.
it's called The Crystal Winter by Avenge.
Avenge.
Yes.
Yes. A-Venge.
Yeah. That was so simple, and I messed it up.
You should be ashamed.
The first thing that I noticed with this piece is that the rain is really well done.
It's interesting because I don't know if it's a picture, like another picture used, or if that's some sort of special effect, or if that's what actually drawn in.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because the fact that I could be fooled to thinking, oh, this could be Photoshopped from a real photo, and if it isn't, then like, wow, doing a really good job.
Yeah, they did a good job of like blurring it. It almost looks like, what you would be seeing through a camera. Like there'd be spots on the camera lens and
You can definitely tell where the wind is coming from.
And if you look on the left, like it's almost like there's like smudges or like dirt on the lens.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. It's like an interesting way of doing things to kind of say like to acknowledge the fact that there's a camera
Yeah.
to kind of say like this is the style choice I'm going for. There's going to be a camera. It's kind of like in films. Some films acknowledge the fact that there's a camera and they use it as kind of like a device. I think that's a really cool aspect of it. So yeah, I mean, the rain is probably the biggest part of this piece because it's what the crystal pony is struggling against, and the wind and the rain all kind of moving together. There's different rain effects as well because we've got kind of like that blurry, fast-moving rain, which they did a really good job, with the whole motion of it. But then they've also got some like drawn-on rain, dripping off of, for example, the front hoof, and through the hair. There's like drops and things like that. Coming off of the legs and things like that. I think that's also really cool. They have kind of two types of water. So I'm not sure if that blurry rain is actually done or whether or not it's a photograph, but if it's not a photograph, then that's a fantastic job done.
I don't think it is from looking at it, but
yeah, I don't think it's a photograph.
it looks like it's a paint.
Well, the person who actually did it then is obviously very knowledgeable about cameras and photography because it's done that kind of motion blur and the way that camera takes in light and shapes, creates those kind of like unnatural circles. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Continuing like the talk about water, if you look at her hooves, how they're like, she's basically standing in a puddle or in like a stream or something.
I swear that's sand or snow. I swear that's sand or snow.
I don't know. It looks kind of like water.
It looks sandy to me though, doesn't it? Pinky Dash, back me up here. It looks like on the hooves, it looks like there's like sand when they're pushing.
I don't know. I was looking at that earlier. It sort of looks like, I don't know. It's sand and I don't know. I've never actually seen snow.
Like mud
so
or
sand will have to do for me. But it looks too shiny to be sand, to be honest.
Do you really not get snow in Australia?
Well, they do, but not where I live. Like if I go outside right now, I'll be at about 29 degrees.
Oh well, no. I know the seasons are switched from the northern hemisphere, but
no, where I live, it has never snowed ever.
Really?
Wow.
Because even in the middle of winter, in the middle of the night, it is still like 8 degrees Celsius.
I didn't know Australia had that nice weather. I guess that makes sense.
Wait,
anyways, I'm talking again.
Australia was hot.
I don't know anything.
The
about
majority
Australia,
of the
hey
Nobody
guys,
knows anything about Australia. That's why you guys are so
to all of
foreign.
our listeners, Canada is a desert, 40 degree heat.
Yeah, but Canada is known for being cold. Australia's not known for being hot.
Spiders don't live in
Egypt's known for being hot.
No, Australia is known
The
for
Caribbean's
being
known for being hot. You don't think of Australia and you go,
Australia was like,
blimey, it's hot down
Australia's
there.
like 80% desert.
Yeah. The majority of the country is desert.
I don't actually know enough about Australia to know that.
You know we have like all of the world's poisonous animals.
I do know about the deadly animals.
You have spiders the size of like computers.
So should I flip the picture upside down while we're talking about Australia?
Could you?
Because technically, if she was in Australia,
Should
well, then again, it might not be raining as much.
It's my headcanon that you walk on ceilings, Pinky Dash.
Okay. I'm okay. You mean like Pinkie Pie or baby cakes?
Yes.
Was it
So.
Baby cakes.
Pumpkin cake was
Yeah.
on the ceiling, wasn't it?
Yeah, but baby cakes is not a character.
Baby Cakes is the episode.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Good show. Anyways, I think it's sand. Flutter Guy thinks it's water. Peggy Dash thinks that he's Australian.
Well, I would say snow.
That looks nothing like snow. Maybe slush.
Sleet.
We'll go with slush.
Sleet. Sleet. Get out of here. Anyways,
crazy Australian.
I think there's something interesting that I wanted to point out here, and it's because we always talk about like positive things that people do on the show, and not to have anything against Avenge, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting to just note some things. I noticed that with the shading, for example, like on the front hoof or whatever, that it's kind of wobbly, and I don't know, maybe that's just my personal preference because I'm a vector artist, so vector artists spend a lot of time making sure that it's not wobbly. I don't know, just personally, I'm not a huge fan of how the shading looks just because it's done in a very flowy kind of way, but then I feel like he could have blurred it a little bit to help with that.
Yeah, well, I feel like on the front, it might be blurred just slightly, but the back is definitely a very sharp shade.
Right, the front does a good job. It's kind of got that light coming off of the front of it, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the harsh light. But then I feel like the back could have been like blurred a little bit.
To
or
be
like a
honest, I
gradient.
don't see that front leg as the center point of this picture. I would say the mane, because that's got the most detail in it. The mane and the tail have the most detail.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I just mean that it's kind of wobbly. Like I definitely notice that it's wobbly, and I'm not sure. Like I understand, like it's not supposed to be perfect. This isn't a vector, but I feel like they could have perhaps hit it a little bit with blurs or things like that. But then again, that is really up to the artist here. Like I said before, it's not a vector, so
I like it how it is.
There you go. See, look, it's all about opinion.
Yep.
Well, I
My
think that's
opinion's
the piece.
best.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about on this piece?
Yeah. I really like the style choice for the mane and tail.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's very
almost
different.
has it's like an anime feel.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole piece kind of has an anime feel to it.
It's interesting because I feel like in terms of the pony itself and like the shading and stuff, there wasn't a huge amount of detail, but then we got kind of like the mane and the tail and then the rein.
Did she ever get a name, this pony?
Probably like I
Something
think I saw in the
like
comments there's like autumn
Amber
leaf
Leaf?
or amber leaf, yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Look, it's a crystal pony. I don't know if anybody actually cared about an individual crystal pony, and if you did, then like there's a little bit that's a little bit too in depth there. Like we got tons of awesome characters with character development to go after. I don't know. That's just the fandom, right?
Yeah.
This is the episode where I dig myself a hole and
and bury yourself in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just one thing I would like to point out too, because Burned would kill me if I didn't, is on the front hoof at the very front, like where the light is hitting, the outline color changes to like a really light blue, because throughout the rest of the piece, her outline is completely black, but the outline,
yeah,
just
it
to
kind
show
of matches that
intense lighting.
like there's got a little like light strip that's going along the hoof, and that gets brighter as it hits that center point, and so does the outline. That's very cool.
Yeah, and I think it also does it on her mane at the very front too.
I think
just to kind of show the intensity of the light.
I wonder what's off to the right. Something not only that is causing rain to kind of spew down on her, but there's something light over there. Something that's casting quite the bright light.
Spoilers, it's Discord.
What? Doesn't even make any sense.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Anyways, that's up to the audience's imagination, so let's move on.
Yep. So our next piece is called The Crystal Soldier by Imalu. And this is...
We've featured something by them before, I'm sure of it.
Have we?
Yes, we have, I think.
Which piece? Don't tell me this is from the episode I missed again.
It could be.
It could have been, but I can't remember the exact piece, but I recognize the
I
name.
can't remember the piece.
Oh no, we've definitely seen work from Imolu before, but I'm not sure if it's been on the show. Here, you guys go on. I'll look through your gallery and I'll see if I can find it.
So this is obviously Rainbow Dash in her jousting armor. And this piece, it's got a very warm feel to it. There's a lot of browns and yellows and
it's almost sepia, I'd say.
Yeah, it kind of looks sepia. There's a little bit of
It's a very warm sepia though.
The purple in Rainbow Dash's eye kind of makes it not completely sepia.
That's what I wanted to point out. The eye stands out, which is great because I love the eyes, pony eyes and faces. And like the eyes give expression to everything, and I love the eyes of ponies, that makes them adorable. But this is great because it makes that purple in the eye stand out. As with Rainbow Dash, it's normally quite hard to do that because all the ridiculously bright hair colors and tail colors. But in this one, they're all really muted. They're really, really washed out, and it's sort of it's all overcome with that sort of brown sepia color, but not the eyes. I love that.
Yeah.
The artist definitely. I was just looking through the gallery, and there's a lot of pieces here that we've either we might have featured, or we've just gotten our folders to perhaps feature in the future. But yeah, the artist. I don't want to say that the artist has got some sort of style like super detailed, but there's something about it, especially within the eyes, that this artist does, and she's really good at it, kind of giving life to it. And I think part of that realistic feel comes when you look at, for example, the eyelashes. You've obviously got a lot more in the show. You don't just have the whatever 3 it is. She's got super detailed eyelashes going on there, which is really interesting to see.
The eyebrows also kind of blurred slightly, which is interesting because in reality it would be kind of fuzzy.
Here's a question that I wanted to pose: if you weren't given any context, like let's say we didn't see Rainbow Dash in any sort of jousting outfit at all,
Yeah.
Would you be able to tell this is Rainbow Dash?
I think if you studied it, because the main, I mean, it's very
Kind of
muted,
shows.
but yeah, you can see there's a blue and a yellow and the red and
Only just.
orange.
I actually think it's quite interesting because initially I don't think I would have. I might have made the association because I'm a Rainbow Dash fan and I see purple eyes and I go, hey, Rainbow Dash. But I think what I think was really interesting was the way the artist specifically put in things to tell the audience that it was Rainbow Dash. Because, for example, like you've got the hair peeking out of the top and it goes red, orange, yellow. That makes sense. But if you look down along the neck, it's got a very noticeable, just 3 little strands, green, blue, purple. And those strands were not necessary, but they just kind of make that addition and just kind of prove that that's the character that you'd think it would be. And I think that was a really interesting choice to make.
Yeah, because without the main colors, it's like Rainbow Dash herself is very like brown and yellow, sepia toned again. So it's it's hard to tell. Yeah, this artist definitely has a very unique style. There's a couple other like I want to say portraits of the main 6, and they're all very like toned down, like even more so than the show in terms of the colors and stuff.
Something that this artist does super well, and it's super interesting to me, is just the lighting in general. A lot of her pieces are very bright. And it's not just bright as in, we've got a white background and the pony's on it. It's like bright as in that white background is being caused by something, and like the light seeps onto the character itself. So here it's not just a light background. Obviously something in the scene is very light because it's lighting up Rainbow Dash's, like, especially along the front of her nose and the front of her muzzle, and it's lighting up the helmet there. And it's really interesting how instead of just saying, I'm going to make a lighter background, she says, I'm going to put something in the scene that is light, and then use that with the character.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is like a streak of light kind of right off the tip of Rainbow Dash's muzzle going up to the left, which I assume is like kind of like a sunburst.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, probably, especially
Yeah.
in the video, but yeah, there's definitely something up there.
Yeah.
Just kind of off in an angle or something like that.
Yeah. I really like how they framed this piece too. I know you're one for like very good watermarks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the frame just kind of adds to this. It makes it feel like it's a complete piece of art.
Yeah, it's almost like it's already framed. It's got that kind of light border around it.
Some people, when they're trying to do framings, they do it really badly, but this one's done really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a common theme with this artist. Not all the time, but looking through her gallery, it's definitely a common theme. And it's funny how something as little as that can be a style choice.
There's another one another artist I know that does that. TWILIGHT, he does it as well, and he also does it really well.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing is, like, if anyone wants to frame their work who's watching the show, you kind of want to keep it minimal and not very standouty because the artwork is the main focus.
Yeah, we don't want to see some sort of wooden frame, no matter how good it looks.
Yeah.
I think that would be a bit weird. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and we mentioned this before, but it's the juxtaposition of very detailed and polished and not so detailed. If we look at the background and we look at the border and we look at Rainbow Dash herself, everything looks done and everything looks like it's been super polished. But if we look at like the helmet, just take a quick look at the helmet already, and you might not have even noticed this just looking at this, but the helmet is done, I'm going to use the word shoddy, or just kind of quickly done.
Yeah.
But that's a choice that's made to, A, not take away from the focus of the piece, which is the face, and B, because it's not necessary to make everything detailed. And we've gone over this time and time again, but we've seen it in many, many great pieces of art, that it's not necessary to make everything detailed because it'll take focus away from what you want people to see in the piece. And your mind fills in those gaps. If you look at Rainbow Dash's face, the helmet takes shape and it's perfectly fine.
Yep.
And I think that's super interesting, and it's definitely something that was intentional, and it's a great example of kind of half finishing something where your brain kind of fills it in yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think all of the the lighting on the helmet is, yeah, like you said, done very kind of haphazardly or hastily.
Yeah.
But it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else have anything to say about this piece?
No,
Or-
let's move on.
All right. So our next piece is called "Protecting Crystal Empire" by Adlin.
Yep. Adlin. That makes
Adlin.
sense.
Adlin.
Yeah. And this again is Rainbow Dash in her jousting armor and carrying the flag of the Crystal Empire or Kingdom.
Crystal Empire.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kingdom.
Empire.
Kingdom. Crystal Kingdom Anthem. Can you learn it in a day? I was reminded of that song because of the flag.
Save the Crystal Ponies.
No.
Yeah.
Their history.
Yeah, with the history.
History.
No, I this is very similar to the last piece because it's
Yes.
focusing on Rainbow Dash in her jousting gear. And actually, something I wanted to scroll back on just for a second here. This Crystal Soldier piece was done back in August, which was when the song was not leaked, but presented as kind of a sneak preview into season 3.
It was teased. It was a teaser.
So it's quite interesting to see not only art such as this piece that was done back in the very beginning of August, but also this piece, Protecting Crystal Empire, which as of time of recording was made less than a day ago.
Yeah.
When we were recording this, it was like 22 hours or 23 hours ago. So it was like literally a day ago it was made. So it's interesting to see like the different timelines between each one. And there's some similarities in this piece, but there's obviously a lot of differences, not only in style, but also just in kind of general feel of the piece. This piece is obviously a lot less somber. I felt like the last piece was kind of almost like sad or...
It was kind of like reflection.
Yeah.
Reflection.
Right.
Reflecting on something in the past. But whereas this one is sort of... If you talk about it in terms of protecting, then the last one was up. Then the last one was sort of post whatever happened, and this one is sort of before whatever's happening. So if there's probably should have done this in the other order, but if we look at the one that we're looking at now, the Protecting Crystal Empire, it's all colourful. She doesn't know what's gonna happen. It's all.
But she'll protect.
It's all new and exciting. It's all going to happen. Whereas in the last one, she knows exactly what has happened, and it's all. She's all just thinking about it and personally reflecting about it and all that sort of stuff. But this one is that's how I see them anyway.
It's interesting to kind of pair these together because again, they're made in different styles by different artists at very different times.
Yep.
3 months apart, but at the same time, you can kind of weave it into its own story.
The amount of work that this artist put into this one is amazing. She said she put about 10 hours into this one.
Yeah.
I'd actually say that's a pretty average time for. I mean, some people are incredible at doing amazing art quickly, but I'd say in general, I mean, I don't know. When I do a vector, it can take anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 hours, and I don't think I'm putting in as much work as these people are, or who knows. So.
Yeah, and if you get into like shading and stuff in a vector, it usually takes.
I mean, I'm not putting it down or
longer
anything.
and stuff,
10 hours
but-
on anything is a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think I could sit still for 10 hours.
Well, it might not have been straight, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
You'd know about that. Ooh.
yeah, I would know about straightness. Oh,
You
man.
said something about
Let's
not
stick with
being.
the art here.
You said it wouldn't be straight. I said you'd know about that. So, not being straight.
You were far too slow on that joke. I'm
I
docking your points.
totally wasn't too slow on that joke.
I'm docking your points. One thing that I think is probably my favorite thing about this piece is the feathers in the wing.
Yes.
It's obviously a
Yes.
stylistic choice. And even though if you look at the outline, it's done in a very similar way to how the show does, 3 big feathers and kind of 3 smaller ones, or 4 big feathers and 3 smaller ones. It's very interesting how detailed it is and meant to look kind of more like actual feathers as opposed to blobs that help the pony fly.
Yeah, that's really interesting. What I find kind of neat or interesting about this piece is that they use 2 different types of shading. They have like this hard shading, like if you look at right in front of the wing, well, actually the shadow cast by the wing is very hard shading, like there's no blur on it at all. And then if you look at like the shading on the inner feathers of the wing, there's a slight blur to it, or like anywhere else on.
Yeah, it's the same if you look on her helmet. It's all hard shading.
Yeah,
as well.
I was about to say the helmet's very hard shaded as well.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I'm tentative to say that might be an error, but it's definitely interesting because I'm not sure if that's an error or not, because it's not like it looks out of place, and I think it's really interesting if it was done on purpose, but you know, I personally can't immediately see what the point was. Like if there was 2 different, I was thinking perhaps there's 2 different light sources, one of them's casting more of a glow and the other one's like a hard light, but it seems like everything's kind of coming from top left hand side, you know, looking down upon her, and all the other shadows seem to be matching that pretty well. And in general, I think this is a good thing to bring up, is that the shadows were done very well.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know about that hard shading. It's not super hard. It's not got like a super solid edge, but it's definitely noticeable over, like you mentioned, the shadows and the feathers, for example.
Yeah.
This shares a lot of similarities with the last piece, in that it uses lighting on the piece, and especially around the front of the face, to create that kind of white glow. And it's a very important thing to note when you're doing shading, is shading is not just shadows. Shading can also be lighting effects, especially if you're creating a noticeable light source in the piece, as these last 2 have. And if you are, and it's a bright light, then you'll get that kind of white on the front, black on the back kind of effect.
Yeah. And even just adding like a little bit of that glow effect kind of really helps balance out shadows and shading.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be much at all. Again, it's dependent on you, but like, I mean, even think about it. Look at Rainbow Dash's hair in the top of her mane, and in her tail too. It's very, very highlighted with that glow of the whatever that might be, sun or whatever the light source is. It's very, very pronounced in all of her hair. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I really do like how they did the mane and the tail.
For sure.
It's very flowy.
I'm a big fan of that sort of realism look, where it's all individual stranded.
I think we're all huge fans of those kind of individual strands. But it's even done in a different way than that, though, because like a previous piece we had, the Crystal Winter, like Flutterguy mentioned, it was almost like done in an anime style, the hair. Whereas this one is like where it had very firm black outlines, and when it did individual strands, each strand was also surrounded in a black outline. Whereas this one is no black outlines, kind of outlined by the glow, but not. I wouldn't necessarily call that an outline. But again, like you can kind of see with the random strokes, especially in the tail, just kind of like strokes of different shades of the color to create what looks like individual strands of hair.
Yeah. It's very neat how artists can do that and just kind of layer on different shades of the same color, and get that kind of result that it looks like individual strands, because your mind's playing tricks on you. And
speaking of those shadows that we were talking about before with the hard outlines, I find it really interesting that the flag itself also is a hard outline. And we're saying this in comparison to the body, which has got kind of that blur, and a lot of that comes with the shading to create that kind of blurred, but also just it's none of them have hard edges really, whereas the flag is another example of that, quite a hard edge. And so I am wondering if this is a stylistic choice, and it's interesting because what it does for the flag, and I'm not sure about the shading itself, but definitely for the flag, it draws your eye to it.
Yeah.
So I can understand exactly why they want to do that. because if you have something like that which is faded into the background and then you blur it, you're only gonna cause the viewer to look at it less and less as you do each thing.
Yeah, and it kind of loses it in the background a little bit. This background is very well done. It's minimalistic, but you can tell like there's some crystalline structures and whatnot.
It did a good job complementing her color scheme.
Yeah.
And it did a good job of making her body stand out from the background, because everything around her has kind of got her color scheme for her hair, and then you've got bang in the middle, you've got blue, which is not apparent in like basically all of the background.
Right.
So it kind of helps her stand out.
All right, so let's move on to our last piece, unless anyone has anything.
No, I think I'm good.
Cool.
Pretty bunny.
Yeah. Our last piece is called Crystal Vinyl Scratch by Chatterbox.
With a 3. Don't leave
Yes.
that out. We can never leave that out.
3 box. And this is yay, a crystalline pony.
Finally, we found
Rarity
one.
would be
There,
so
we
happy.
did actually find a lot of references to crystallization of ponies or whatever, but a lot of them were vectors, and we kind of didn't really want to feature vectors on the show, and I don't know.
I'll mention them later.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have them in the
In the folder.
We'll have them in the folder later.
That's what I was going to mention. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them were just show traces.
Yeah,
which-
and while show traces are great, I don't feel like it takes precedent over some of the pieces that we've seen today, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to people who do show traces. We do show traces, but
Yeah, no.
there's just something like special about these pieces, and every piece has got a different meaning behind it and a different use for it. And show traces are to be used, and these kind of pieces are a little bit more to be admired. Just like custom vector work is a little bit more to be admired, not used.
Yeah.
Anyways, we could go on to that for hours. So this one, Crystal Vinyl Scratch, is one of the only examples that we could find of a crystalline pony that was done in a non-vector style. And I'm glad we ran across it, actually, because it looks fantastic.
Yes, it's so sparkly.
And it's very, very hard to do. The effects that they did in the show, I was actually really, really impressed with. Because it's very hard to do this, but it just in any kind of artistic form without making it look too crazy.
Yeah, as soon as you get into like transparencies and stuff, it
becomes
very
a real
difficult.
nightmare, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up the first thing because this is a huge thing within the fandom, but her eyes are red, as are her earrings, or only one is visible, her earring, and her glasses. And I know people are split on whether her eyes are red or whether they're purple. Technically, it's been proven that they're purple, but I think
they're magenta-ish.
They're rainbow dash colored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did the color comparisons and they did everything, and it was
actually came out, like, I can't remember who said it, but one of the people who work on the show said they're the same color as rainbow dashes. So
yeah, that's true. There was a quote from the person on the show, so I was like, yeah, they are the same color as rainbow dashes. But anyways, we're not in a discussion about that. What I wanted to point out was, regardless of the show colors, I found it good that they used the other coloring here, not just from a fan's perspective, but also because with all these crystalline things that they added and with all the details and the opacity things kind of clustering it up, the red really cuts through. And I don't
really
think a
stands out.
purple would do that as well. The red does that
because
really well.
All the colors in this are sort of cool colors, whereas the red is a warm color.
Right, and it just cuts right through the piece, and I can't imagine anyone who would open this up and look immediately to like the middle of the body or the tail. You got to go center of the face. That's the focus, and I think they did a really good job of not like seeing that. They might have done the red eyes and looked at that and go, "Wow, you're just really attracted to that," and then use that coloring in the glasses and the earring, which is a really smart thing to do because that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You got the focus of the piece, you're trying to get it to a certain place, and so you use techniques. And in this case, the artist used coloring as a technique to get your eyes focused on the face.
Again, with the like the mane and the tail in this piece, they used the whole different shades of blue to kind of give a feeling of individual strands. Not as much so as our last piece. But I feel like you can still kind of get a feel for individual strands of hair.
Yeah, funnily enough, I think it's actually a combination of the two. Because not only our first piece was black outlines defining kind of each strand. The second piece that we talked about in hair was just straight up different colors, no outlines, and the different colors gave it different things. And then this one we've got not only the light blue outline that's going around every single kind of strand, but then we've also got mixed colors in the background not matching these outlines, giving this kind of chaotic and crystally feeling to it, which is really cool and really smart.
Yeah.
And the artist did a fantastic job on creating this kind of custom mane and tail, because as we saw in the show, when the ponies were crystallized, quote unquote, they kind of got like random hair change. Woo! I'm pretty sure an artist just had fun. They were just like, well, why don't we just make them look pretty? Like, okay, sure, just go for it.
That must have been a nightmare for the animators.
Yeah, so she's done a really good job of doing that as well.
Yeah.
Something that I like in this one is that she looks transparent. So you can actually sort of see, like, it's really evident, and if you look at her front legs, you can see one through the other.
Well, she is actually transparent.
Yeah.
For example, if you were to drag this, in fact, because she's transparent, I'm going to have to like put her on a specific background. I'm probably going to put her on like the DeviantArt color background. It's usually a pain in the butt whenever we get something that's transparent on the show, because I have to take the picture, put a background behind it, and then re-render it out, so that, because if I don't do that, then I get some real issues in the post-production. But as you can see here, as I'll put up the actual transparent version, you'll see that the middle of the body is actually transparent, and if you were to drag this picture over different colors, it would change color, which is very cool. I mean, hard for me to edit, but in general, very cool.
Yeah. It's almost like you could place this just right into a background and it would fit perfectly.
Yeah, and it would give that feel that it's, she'd see through, which is, I think, a defining feature of a crystal, especially a white crystal, like a diamond or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really like the way that they did her cutie mark, actually, because it looks 3D, like the notes themselves look like they're 3D.
It's crystallized itself.
Yeah. Because they used like a little bit of a darker black in the center of each note, and then they gave it the shimmer like you'd normally see on eyes in the show. The white shimmering in the eyes kind of give it a 3D feel, and they did the same thing for each note in the cutie mark, which makes it pop. Which is kind of cool.
That's her cutie mark, because Octavia's is a treble clef, which is also what's
in Vinyl's ear.
Yeah, her earring is also a treble clef.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was just making sure because I couldn't remember off the top of my head if they've actually shown Vinyl's cutie mark, but they have.
Yes.
They have, definitely. I keep asking stupid questions like, what's Vinyl Scratch's cutie mark and who makes the show? I swear I'm informed. I just forget things.
Who's the rainbow one?
What show is this?
What is today?
Ponies?
Right.
It's Ponies Day.
Talking about ponies.
Pony Day.
Well, I don't think there's much else to talk about this piece.
No.
It's hard to kind of describe the technique that's used to create this crystalline technique. Basically, it was a combination of random kind of glimmers, again, going back to that quote-unquote camera feel to it, where you've got that kind of the light sparkling off. Instead of being sparkles, they become kind of these white blobs, which shows up in cameras. And also it's like a gradient that goes from the outlines. It's at its thickest, so you got that white near the outlines, and as it goes into the center of the body, it becomes transparent. So it's a gradient from white to transparent, going from the outlines to the inside.
You can see exactly what brush they've used to make this too. You can see all the little random blobs and stroke and little, like it's a circle dragged along, and you can see all the different colors and.
Yeah, and again, that's another demonstration of things in the background that don't need to be perfect. Obviously, the things that are drawing you are the mane, the tail, the eyes, and the accessories. You don't need to be drawn to the body itself. It's not necessary. It's just something there that adds to the piece.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I think that's everything we could talk about in terms of the Crystal Kingdom.
Yes.
Wait, we're talking about a Crystal King? I thought we were talking about a Crystal Empire.
It's okay. We're always
You
gonna fight on this.
two.
It's Kingdom. Tell us in the comments what you think. Is it Kingdom or Empire? And don't say both. Don't say both.
Comment below.
Yeah, don't say both.
It's
All
a
right.
democracy.
Anyway.
Anyway,
No, it's definitely not.
monarchy.
So let's move on.
Okay. All right. So I've got a couple of questions here. You guys haven't seen them, so this should be fun.
Right. We're trying something new this week, and it's tentative at the moment because Pinky Dash could probably pick some weird questions, but I figured it might be a little bit more fun and a little bit more off the cuff if we had Pinky Dash choose the questions and then not tell us what they are. And it'll make our answers a little bit more, I don't know. I don't like it when we don't look at these pictures and come up with stuff. We don't look at these pictures for 50 minutes and then come up with the perfect critiques. We just kind of go with what we see, kind of take you through the process of what we're viewing and how we're viewing it, and it kind of helps you guys follow along because you're kind of looking at it for the first time as well. So I figured the questions can kind of be the same thing.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll see.
Now on with this. Alright, so first question I've got here is, what is your favourite crossover artwork between MLP, FIM, and another fandom? Or just your favourite crossover in general? Sent in by Zari. Who wants to go first?
Ooh, that's tough. I want to say I don't know if this is allowed, but I want to say steampunk because it's kind of a subculture. / other fandom.
I'll allow it this once.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoy that whole feel of it, and that whole style. And I've seen a lot of really good steampunk pony art. In fact, in my room right now, there's a We Love Fine bag with a steampunk Rainbow Dash on it. So
Yeah, it's the same bag that's the same bag you get. Yeah, I've got that bag.
Yeah.
So,
I don't have that bag.
So I don't know. I really like that style, and crossing it with ponies is makes it 20% cooler.
Oh no! Come on.
I
You
had
heard it
to.
here first, folks. Flutter Guy, last podcast. Thanks for coming on, but you made a 20% cooler joke, and now you have to leave.
It's been fun.
Well, I think my answer. I was thinking about it, and I'm not really sure. I mean, crossovers are entertaining because you like both subjects. In general, if you're talking about crossovers between shows or stuff. So some people would find Doctor Who crossovers fun because they like Doctor Who and My Little Pony together, which is really cool. Personally, I think any kind of video game crossover is really cool to me. Just because of the way that the characters can be represented. When you get good characters that are turned into ponies, it's really cool. We showed a couple of weeks ago when Halo 4 came out. JJ did. John Joseko, for those of you who are out of the loop, did a Halo 4 Gamer Luna thing, which was really awesome. And there's other pieces out there like an Ender Pony, some Borderlands stuff, things like that. I find that really entertaining, and I love seeing characters turned into ponies and seeing how they looked, because it's not exactly a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's still really interesting to see, and it's not done enough. It really isn't.
No.
So if any of you out there, are interested in video games and ponies, get on it.
Do it. Ponify everything.
Look at how popular Gamer Luna is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Okay. Alright, so I've actually had these questions written down for the last hour and a half, and I can't come up with an answer for it. Crossovers, I enjoy them, but I don't really have a favorite. No,
I mean, you can say that you're not a fan of crossovers. I mean,
No, I do.
if it wasn't for video game crossovers, I wouldn't be a fan of crossovers, to be honest with you, just because I don't get it personally.
Am I
It
allowed
has
to
to be
talk
something
now?
I get.
I can talk now?
Yeah.
Without being interrupted? Yeah? Okay.
So as I was saying before,
Okay, yeah, as I was saying, I don't really have a favorite. That's the thing. I mean, I enjoy crossovers, but I don't have a specific genre or a specific style. I've seen a really awesome Beelzebub from Futurama made into a pony, and I've seen video game characters made into ponies, and I've seen all sorts of stuff crossed over, but I don't have a favorite. I enjoy this piece, and I enjoy this piece, but I don't enjoy this genre. So,
Yeah.
That's what I
Fair
want to
enough.
say.
Fair enough.
That makes sense. There's a lot of crossovers out
There's
there.
a huge
so
amount of crossovers.
It's tough to choose.
So, TV shows, video games, real life stuff. Like I've seen a personified Mount Rushmore, which I won't talk about.
Shush your face. Shush your face.
I'm shushing my face. Okay. Anyway, that's my answer. So next question, unless anyone's got any more to say. Rainbow Plasma, seeing as you're burned this week, any more to say?
Shut up.
Actually, I have something more to say.
In your face! It wasn't me.
Oh, snap. In relation to Rainbow Plasma's answer, I'm a big fan of the Two Sisters play. Or Two
Yes.
Sisters
Oh, that was
play
fun.
videos,
Yes.
That was fun.
on YouTube, which is
The
like a
Portal one was fun.
crossover of Two Best Friends play.
I will allow this promotion.
Yes. So if you haven't seen those, definitely go check them out because they're awesome.
Actually, that brings up a good point. Crossovers aren't just artwork; it's also videos and music. So,
Yeah, but we're an art show, so.
Yeah.
well, who says videos and music aren't artwork?
Oh, God. We're a visual art show.
Usual? What's usual? There is no usual.
Visual.
Visual. Okay, visual. So, video isn't visual.
It's not typical what you consider visual art.
I would allow it.
No, but when people say visual art, they think of, what's the term for it then? What's the term for like
a pretty picture?
Still picture art.
Still picture
art.
is still picture art.
No, I swear the term's visual art,
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
as opposed
Whatever.
to digital art. Bam. No, that's not true. That's wrong.
No.
Can we
You
move
make
on before I
digital
make
art.
more of an idiot of myself this episode?
Interactive art.
This is why we have Burned on, because then Burned can make a fool of himself instead of me.
So you have turned into
I
Burn.
have turned into Burned.
You're being such a gilder. All right, let's move on. Okay, next question. Do you know of any tips to help me spot weaknesses in my own art?
I guess, well, my biggest tip would be to have other people look at it. I know it's like, I guess the question's more related to being able to spot it without having other people look at it, but that really is like the best way.
It is the best way.
Yeah, good luck spotting errors in your own art, because think about it. If you're spending, like we were mentioning before, like 1 to 10 hours on a piece of art, first of all you can see is flaws, and then when you get it to a certain point, you might suddenly not see flaws. Like, it's just, you're too invested into the product to be able to properly see what's exactly right and what's exactly wrong. I think the important thing is it's tough to show it to other people, especially like depending on the person, because you get a lot of people who are like, it's perfect, I love it, when it might not be, and you've also got people who will point out every single little tiny flaw, and hopefully you might have someone out there who's kind of in the middle who says, this looks really good, I've noticed this and that, but trust me, the piece is good or whatever. In terms of spotting stuff on your own, good luck.
Another thing I'll say to help you point out stuff on your own work is, I mean, personally myself, when I'm making a vector, I normally start sort of late or at night, so by the time I finish it, it's sort of like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just rushed at the end of it because I just want to get it done and go to bed. So what I'll do is I won't put it anywhere, I'll just leave it on my computer, come back to it in the morning and have another look at it when I'm fresh, and you can see any errors that you've made the previous night. So before you show it to anyone, if you don't want to show it to anyone, leave it for a day or so, and then come back to it and have another look with a fresh mindset. You'll see errors instantly. I guarantee that you'll see an error.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
And if you don't, again, show it to a friend. Every single piece of art has errors, okay? And no piece of art is ever going to be 100% perfect, and no piece of art ever needs to be 100% perfect. So, I'm not sure what you mean in terms of, if you're looking for vector art advice, may I suggest the MLP Vector Club on DeviantArt. Self-promotion.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're working with like vectors or super detailed pieces of art too, sometimes it's a good idea to zoom in to your piece while you're working on it and look at the details, and then also to zoom out, like fully out, and just to see if everything fits together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Nothing more to say on that one?
Well, okay, one more thing. What we try to do on the show is to help you spot things in your own artwork. That's kind of what the show is. It's to help you guys make art. And so when you're making things, keep things in mind. For example, where the person's eye is going to go first, where the lighting source is, different things like that. So that can kind of help you for basic things. Where the eye is going to go is very important. And that's a tough one for you to do by yourself. But if you're taking kind of an analytical look at it, then you might be able to spot like where your eye's going. So yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Cool.
Now, last question I've got here is, what is a good way to get rid of artist's block? I'm going to sort of add on to that one and sort of say, where can you sort of draw inspiration from if you've got nothing? And both of those last two questions were sent in by Otaku AP, our biggest fan.
Apparently.
Yeah. He is quite literally our biggest fan.
Whoa, literally, that's insulting.
No, I'm just kidding.
He meant figuratively our biggest fan.
We have a lot of fans, which is insane.
He meant figuratively our biggest fan.
Yeah.
That's the term you're supposed to use.
No, I didn't.
All right, I'm gonna dig you out of this hole by starting here.
Thank you.
If you have artist block, it's tough. What I suggest is don't do something you don't want to do, unless that's how you get motivated. Because like the whole point about art is unless you're being like paid for it, then it should be something that you enjoy doing. Don't pander to people to become popular. Don't. Requests are a completely different thing. If you want to do that and open up requests, and that's a great way to get motivation. If you can't think of anything to do, and somebody's like, "Well, here's an idea," and you're like, "Okay, well, I'll do that," then that's perfectly fine. But don't make a piece just to pander to people to make it popular or whatever. Got to do something that you're passionate about. I'm doing the show because I'm passionate about it. I vector because I'm passionate about it. You don't have to be hardcore into it, but it needs to be something that you can do and you sit down and you enjoy and you look back on and said, yes, that was a good experience. And so
Are you Canadian because you're passionate about it? Are you Canadian because you're passionate about it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I'd say so. That's not even a joke. Like, I'm very passionate about being Canadian as well. That's why I don't take any crap from you about it.
Mounties.
It is true.
Snow.
Anyways, so if you aren't passionate about something, if you don't like doing something, then put it down for a little bit and come back to it, or find a particular piece of art or art style that you want to do. For example, if you're sitting down and you're making a crystal vinyl scratch, and you're like, this is really frustrating, I can't figure out how to do it, then maybe put it down for a while, come back to it later when you're not in maybe such a mood that's kind of frustrated, or, move on to something else.
Something that I find helps me if I've got the motivation to make something but I've got no idea what to make, I'll just, I don't know, let my mind wander. I'll just sit there, put some music on, close my eyes, start to fall asleep, and then something will just randomly come to me from the music sometimes. Or do what Bernd would say, just go sit under a tree. He said that one of the episodes. He said just go sit under a tree.
Did he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Also,
okay,
Canada,
fair enough.
There's
There's been 22 episodes. I don't remember every
why
single one.
Why is the plural of moose not meese or mice?
It should be meese. It is meese.
Should be
It
meese.
is. It's definitely not meese.
It's totally meese.
It is meese now.
What? Anyways, about motivation of art.
Maybe someone should draw a moose in the MLP style. Or a meese, sorry. Should draw a meese in the MLP style.
There is a moose in the MLP
There is a
style.
moose. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Other guy, do you have any last tips before we move on to the very end here?
Yeah, just like going back to the same thing as with the previous question, if you have artist block, show your art to someone. Maybe they can suggest where to go from there, or if you should do something differently, or just to get a broader overview of it. It's always nice to be able to have people who can suggest things to you, and even if it's like, it's not technical help, it's, there's motivational help and stuff. So
all right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything to say in terms of motivation?
Bernd agrees.
Just do it.
Bernd agrees with everything we've said here today.
He does.
Everything.
Yes.
He's gonna hate me for that.
Don't you, Bernd? Yes, I do.
Sorry, Bernd, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
This
I'm slightly muffled, but I'm here.
Is that your Bernd impression? Are you doing like a Sean Connery impression?
Yes.
Oh god.
We're looking at some art today. Crystal ponies.
Crystal ponies.
Anyways,
crystal.
take
This
Crystal
has
Pony.
been the most random of episodes. Burned, come back. I never thought you were the missing link, but you are. Dear God.
Should this be the
I'm-
Pinky Dash and Flutterguy show one week?
That
We
will
ju-
be interesting when
we
that
would just
happens.
Go back and forth, be like, this piece is nice.
I like
This
that.
piece looks nice.
All right, so this is the end of the show. This is where we plug all of our stuff. Quickly, before we get into the plugs, I wanted to point out something. We got a special episode coming up on January 1st. You
Yay.
probably already heard about it if you're a fan of the show, but if you haven't, then we're having a fan art episode. So send in your fan art of us. Yes, we're narcissistic. Deal with it. But no, seriously, people have sent us in fan art, so we said, well, we want kind of a way to kind of feature all of that at once. So if you want to send in some fan art to us, we've had more and more being sent in, so get it in soon, and we'll be able to get you on the show. And, just send in some fan art of our OCs or whatever, and no matter what it is, I guarantee you. Okay, let me
It
rephrase
has to be
that.
PG.
Let me rephrase
Can
that.
somebody make Rainbow Plasmas as a Mountie, please? Like a horse riding a horse?
Yes.
Let me rephrase that. Okay, it has to be PG. Fair enough. You can't send us in adult pictures of our OC. We're not going to feature that on the show.
No.
You can send them in, we're not going to feature them.
I guess you can send them in, but we're not going to feature. But I mean, people have still come up to us and say, "I don't want to send you it because it's so bad." Look, first of all, it's not, and second of all, even if you are, let's say you're 3 years old and you're using a crayon drawing, we love it. We really do.
Yeah, we appreciate everything.
We appreciate every
Seriously.
single piece of art. So
I should
don't worry
make
about the
my own and
quality.
submit it under a different username.
We would love to have your art on the show, and this is a great way to tie into the motivation. Not motivated? Draw us. Sounds really
Perfect
narcissistic,
advice.
but whatever. Whatever.
Good advice.
It's true.
Anyways, so let's move on to our plugs for the day. Pinky Dash, you want to start us off?
Maybe. Okay, so we have a DeviantArt account, which is Cutie Art Crusaders at .deviantart.com.
Want to try that again?
CutieArtCrusaders.deviantart.com. On there, you'll be able to find all of the folders from all of our previous episodes. Once this one goes up on YouTube, there'll also be the link to this episode, so you can watch it straight on DeviantArt if you don't want to go to the YouTube page. Also, what we do is when we put an episode up, our favorites folder for that particular episode will have some art that we didn't have time to feature on the show. So we've only featured 4 or 5 pictures or pieces of art every week, but in our folders we normally have more than that. So if you want to see a couple more things relating to the theme, you can go there and check it out. We also have a Gmail account, so email account. So if you have any questions for us, which I really want you to send in because I have no questions anymore, all run out. Please send me more questions because I'm horrible at making them up. So before I was really interrupted, our email address is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. Please when you send something in, please say other art or questions in the subject line, depending on what you're sending in. So if you're sending a question with the art in the subject, I'll be annoyed, but whatever. If you'd like to annoy me, that's the sort of thing you want to do.
Feel free to send in any types of questions. We had a lot of fun a couple weeks ago with kind of a random question, so don't feel pressured to send in art questions. You feel free to send in art questions because we love answering them, and if you have a legitimate question. But if you want to send in some sort of crazy random question, then I'm not saying no.
Here's a random question you could send in. When is Rainbow Plasma's birthday? Oh, it's in 7 days. Ooh, okay.
Oh, you're pulling that out of your hat, are you? We're not done the plugs yet. Wait a second. My goodness.
Oh my gosh! Wait, your birthday is gonna fall on recording day.
Okay. Chill. Okay, we've got a Twitter account as well.
Yes.
On Twitter, we are at Cutie Art Crusade. That's where you can go for any updates. For example, we had some troubles with our live stream last week. So, I posted there. I said, hey guys, we might be a little bit late. We've also gotten some questions in on there. We've gotten a lot of questions actually recently, and more people are starting to talk to the Twitter account, which is really awesome. And I can kind of give you much faster responses than if you send in a question and then 3 weeks later it gets answered on the show. So if you have any random questions that you kind of need answered quickly, then that's the place to go.
Yep. We also have a Facebook, which is facebook.com/cutieartcrusaders. And we've gotten quite a few likes on there. So if you're feeling so inclined, you can like us there. And I'll try and post when the episodes are going up and when they're on YouTube and stuff. And actually, I also want to kind of add a plug here for our EverFree site, which is cutieartcrusaders.everfree.net, which is where you can find all of our episodes.
Yeah,
So-
that's kind of like our show homepage.
Yeah.
So we'll just, in case you didn't know that already.
Yeah.
Basically, we've got 3 or 4 places where you can go, and we'll try to keep you updated on all these different places. So it's basically just a matter of preference. We've gotten like 300 and something watchers on DeviantArt.
Mhm.
So if you prefer to follow us there, you'll get a journal in your inbox. If you like Twitter, then you'll get a tweet an hour or so or the day before. If you prefer Facebook, then that'll go there.
You'll get a
cetera,
Facebook.
et cetera. Right, exactly. So wherever you prefer to be notified, then you can go on there.
Yep.
All right. So, fine. You want to talk about my birthday?
No, not really. I've already said everything I wanted to say.
Well, I haven't.
We
My
should,
birthday-
we should all ignore it.
My birthday's next week. I will be of legal drinking age as of 1 week from now. Or not technically 1 week from now because you're watching this on the Tuesday. My birthday's on November 30th. Right, which is our recording day. So next week I will be in for recording on my birthday, which will be awesome.
Yay.
And
So,
we've never had
yeah.
that before, actually. We've never had a recording day birthday.
No.
We've always had like birthdays on, like Burns' birthday was on the Tuesday that one of our episodes premiered.
Yeah.
And Piggy Dash way back in the day was like middle of the week when we did it. So
Way back then.
That was the one that's the one we recorded twice.
that's
Oh, yeah, that's right.
don't remind me of the pain of that recording. All right, we're going really long here, so that should be everything for today. Thank you guys for watching. Burns, come back, please. Oh, God,
We
just
miss
come back.
you.
This is such a haphazard podcast, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyways. Whether or not you're watching on the live stream or on YouTube, you're awesome. We love all of our fans, etc., etc. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
I'm Flutterguy317.
And I'm Flinky Flash.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye. Hello and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders Spoilercast. This is our second Spoilercast, and for those of you who haven't joined us for our first Spoilercast, we decided to do a little after episode kind of fill in about the previous episode or the previous week's episode. And last Spoilercast, we were late by like a week and a half because we record the show on Fridays, and by that point we hadn't seen the new episode. And so we were getting a couple of complaints about that. So what we decided to do now is record our Cutie Art Crusaders art show on Fridays and record our Spoilercast on Saturdays so that we can, be up to the minute in the episode and just kind of do a quick review and, opinions about it. I don't know. Rainbow Plasma, do you want to add anything to that?
No, that's basically it. I mean, people really like the Spoilercast, I guess, because, you can't get enough ponies, and I guess you guys enjoy hearing us talk even more. So
Supposedly our
if we bump it
voices
up
are-
from an hour to an hour and a half, you guys seem to enjoy that.
Yeah.
But basically, we had just like 2 complaints, which they weren't even like complaints. They were just like, hey, here's a suggestion, which is really nice. We enjoy suggestions.
Yeah.
First one was, obviously, can you be a little bit more up to date? So we're kind of flipping it around, recording on the Saturday so we can be most up to date. And the second one was do visuals, like refer to the episode and put the episode on the screen. And to that, I'm just going, no.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
feel
doing
for
that.
you guys editing. So
No, it takes me 4 to 6 hours to edit the regular podcast, and I'm not gonna add on another 2 to 4 editing this. It's harder than it looks, and yeah. You've seen the episode, and part of us keeping up to date is so it helps you guys kind of remember what the episode is.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, let's move on. We're talking
Yep.
about 2 episodes today. Again, this is a spoiler cast. It's in the name. So if you haven't seen season 3 episode 3 or season 3 episode 4, which are the latest 2, then don't listen to this.
Go watch the episode and then come back on our YouTube page and watch it then.
Yeah, exactly.
If you like hearing us speak, because
Exactly.
yeah. Speaking of us and talking, we're actually short a couple of members today.
Yes, we are.
So
The 2 other members of our podcast are little bum faces, and for some reason they're not available right now, even though we specifically said, "Hey, Saturday night, guys, we're recording the Spoilercast," and some of them were like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be great," and then they were like, "Yeah, I'm too busy."
Yeah.
So you know what? I get to talk crap about them all I want. They can smell, and their taste in clothing is irrefutable.
And they're
Wait, no, that's a good thing, isn't it? Their taste in clothes is awful. There you go.
yeah, that's much more descriptive.
There we go.
And their OC colors. I mean, man.
Their design choices are just all wrong.
Your OCs are bad, and you should feel bad.
Oh, rough.
Oh,
No,
man.
we love them.
Yeah.
I don't, but like figuratively. Right now I'm still mad, so.
No, we miss them. We missed Burn when we recorded the actual episode.
I don't miss them. They suck because they didn't come today, and I'm sad.
Aw.
Let's talk about ponies.
Ponies, yeah. So, yeah, for anyone who's just joining us, which, you shouldn't be because this comes after our show.
There was just an hour of us talking.
Yeah, I'm Flutterguy317.
And I'm Rainbow Plasma.
And, yeah, this is our Spoilercast, so welcome.
Okay, first episode we're talking about, because we're talking about 2 episodes this week because we have to catch up.
Yes.
So that we can be most up to date. So the first episode that we're going to be talking about is episode 3, Too Many Pinkie Pies. And this one was a doozy.
I was terrified throughout most of the episode.
It's funny because Pinky Dash claimed that this was his favorite episode, but you know what? He doesn't get to have an opinion because he didn't come to the spoiler cast.
Yeah.
So my opinion of the episode was it was great.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah, same.
A lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was definitely, I mean, it was right up there with the way that, I mean, you have the intro episodes each season. So you have the 2-parters that come, but I feel like those are kind of separated from the actual season. So when episode 3 rolls around, it's kind of like, okay, here's where like the slice of life season starts,
Yep.
Like here's like the middle part, the stuff that's going to be happening most of the season. So things like this and Lesson 0. Yeah, I would kind of put this akin to Lesson 0, and both times they've started off the season really, really well.
Yeah. See, this episode to me had a lot of Party of One in it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just obviously because it's Pinkie Pie, and because like halfway through the episode she gets really depressed. Not depressed.
I feel like it was a different kind of depressed though, because like the other depressed was like crazy and funny depressed, and this one was just like, aw, sad and adorable depressed.
Yeah, like the scene where Rainbow Dash brings her in to the whole like paint.
I found this one and it was just poking its hoof into the ground.
Yeah, drawing sad faces.
Drawing frowny faces. That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in this episode because we're vector artists and we help run a vector group. This episode was just insane in terms of show trace possibilities. I mean, there are so many faces. Pinkie Pie is known for having the best faces, just in general, having the most ridiculous faces. You can claim that other ponies have funny faces as well, but Pinkie Pie obviously does the most amount of those kind of over-the-top expressions. And in this episode, there was like 16 of them.
Yes.
So there was all those expressions, and then add 15 times that by 16, and that's how many expressions we had. So in terms of vector possibilities, it was crazy.
Yeah. There was the scene where Pinkie Pie runs up to Fluttershy, and is like completely out of breath, and just like has all these ridiculous faces. And I'm pretty sure every single frame of that scene was vectored.
Yeah, the one where she's like gasping and she's got like her crazy mouth.
the my brand face.
my brand.
My brand.
Yeah. There was like that scene, and obviously there was many things when they were testing the Pinkie Pies at the very end. The G3 face.
Oh, God, yes.
the blowing up to become hands. The literal blowing up of the Pinkie Pies.
Mm-hmm.
So many things to start off a season. It started with a bang. They really did. It was right up there with Lesson 0. Lesson 0 is one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
And this was right up there.
This also, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Prestige.
I have not.
You have not. This is going to be a spoiler for that too. It's kind of has the same kind of concept with cloning and duplicates and stuff. It's like, how do you know that you're the real person, like, or if you're actually the clone? Like
I might have seen that.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
it's kind of deep actually. It's this was fairly deep for a episode of Pony, I think.
Hmm. Yeah.
Although then again, Pony is pretty deep. So
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly deep, really.
yeah.
All right, what else was there in this episode? I mean, it's kind of hard. You get distracted. Oh,
Oh.
I did want to bring up something that that Byrne would have brought up if he came to the podcast.
Oh, come on.
But he was talking about last week during the Spoilercast. He was talking about the fact that he didn't like Rainbow Dash's character development.
Yeah.
And I thought she played a pretty good minor character. She was playing about the same role that she was playing in the season opener.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it was a lot more positive. She was just sitting there relaxing, chilling out with her friends, not being too pushy. Like even when it came to the opportunity of like, I'm hanging down by the beach later, and then Applejack's like, well, I'm raising a barn, and then Rainbow Dash is supposed to being like, you should come to my thing, and then they fighting over it. She's like, no, it's chill, whatever's happening. That's how I envision Rainbow Dash. She's just like very calm, cool, collected about everything, except when she's talking about herself, and then she gets all like, I don't know the word to describe it because awesome is the wrong word. I just want to keep on saying awesome.
No, it's not narcissistic, but maybe
No, when she, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we're narcissistic, but Rainbow Dash is not. Yeah, no, I think that she like it was very toned down in this episode as opposed to like the season opener, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed Rainbow Dash in this. Like, I thought she was very adorable. I thought too that like her reading, what was it, Daring Do? It was one of the Daring Do books. Was very good, like continuity and stuff like that.
I like that little part of her character, and they should bring that around more because it's a good balance out. Everybody needs that kind of balance, and you know, to give another example, just for you, Bud.
Yes,
Fluttershy, obviously, a negative, quote unquote, negative trait would be how shy she is, and by the same reason, a negative trait of Rainbow Dash would be how narcissistic she is. You can overlook that if you're a fan. I overlook the fact that Rainbow Dash is narcissistic because she's awesome.
Yeah.
People overlook the fact that Fluttershy is super shy because it's adorable. But you need something to balance it out, just for like a character sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so Fluttershy is nice on top of that, and you know she comes into her own when she gets to talk about animals, something that she's passionate about. And by the same reason, Rainbow Dash kind of comes into her own when she's that chill, laid back, you know, don't mind, I'm reading a book. That last season's episode, what was it called? It wasn't Read It and Weep, was it?
No, that was it? It might have been.
It might have been.
I
I might
don't
have better
remember.
memory than I think. So let me pull up my.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Read It and Weep. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that episode was really good.
We need to go rewatch that episode actually.
Yeah, that was actually a fun bit of knowledge. That was the first episode that I ever knew about in terms of like new episodes. I came into the fandom like right around when that was coming out. Like that was the first when I went to like Reddit, because that's where I was surfing, and part of the reason I became a brony was through Reddit. And when I first went to the r/MLP or r/My Little Pony, that was like on the Saturday of that episode's release.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
That might have been my first episode too, actually.
Yeah, because we were at about the same time.
Yeah. Huh. Cool.
So what about the other characters? Like, let's just think a little bit about some of the other characters.
Yeah.
Because we went kind of heavy into Rainbow Dash, and I don't want to play bias, even though everybody knows my bias.
No, that's fine. Actually, before we do delve into the other characters, in that scene where Pinkie Pie is hanging out with Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie physics is officially confirmed.
Yes, that's great. That's great.
Rainbow Dash is, how did you do that?
I like the fact that they acknowledged it too. They weren't just like, it's Pinkie Pie. She was like, okay, that was a little bit weirder than normal.
Mm-hmm. I think someone made a gif of it, like in reverse, like Pinkie Pie coming out of the water. It's perfect.
Yeah, I present to you this pony. Yeah.
It's so good.
One last thing to note about Pinkie Pie in that scene is she's made like the best face when she was looking into the reflection. I don't know what it is, but she just had like this smug, like half lidded smile on her face that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It looked like the boring face from season 1.
Yeah. She has some of the best expressions.
She does. She really does.
Yeah. I liked how Twilight was in this episode too. I thought it was hilarious, the spell that she was doing, like turning apples into oranges.
Yeah.
And then she turned a bird into an orange and a frog into an orange and
all these different things.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there wasn't really much to do with any of the other characters. Do you remember Rarity even being in the episode at all?
I don't think she. Oh, yes, she was, because she came and she was all like cloaked and hooded and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
And
true.
then,
That's
yeah.
true. Right.
And Pinkie Pie had to decide between Rarity and
There's just so
Fluttershy
much
and
fun to be
Twilight.
had everywhere. Right.
know.
Okay. Still a small part, but
It's kind of like the fandom actually, because like there's so many different like facets of the fandom. There's art and music and all these different things, and it's like if you really concentrate on one thing, it's like you kind of want to delve into the other areas of the fandom too.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's everything we can talk about in terms of Too Many Pinkie Pies. That was like a week ago for us, so
Yeah,
we don't have the best memory of it.
yeah,
But that's what we thought was interesting. It's kind of interesting to actually talk about an episode a week after it's aired because then you kind of remember the stuff that stuck with you.
and then you're
You know?
like, oh yeah, that happened, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, let's move on to the next episode. The episode that aired today as of recording, or last Saturday if you're hearing this, and that's damn it. What's the episode name?
I think it's Bab's Seed, or is it?
No, it's not
No,
Bab's
it's
Seed.
not Bab's Seed.
It's like One Bad Apple or something.
Yes, One Bad Apple.
One Bad Apple. Yeah. So this is the episode, obviously, with Apple Bloom's cousin Bab's Seed coming in from Manhattan, and it was the ever-awaited bullying episode.
Yes.
Because every single kids show has a bullying episode, and they finally really got around to it here. And I don't know what it is about Cutie Art Crusaders episodes that just it. I feel like the Cutie Art Crusaders episodes don't stick with me the same way that others do.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of the opposite. Like I love the Cutie Pox episode.
I wasn't a huge fan.
Oh.
I mean, like, I can get why they're good and there's parts in it that are funny and, like, all of these different things, but, like, at the end of the day, when I finish the episode, it just doesn't give me the same.
Yeah.
I think it's just because, like, I'm a huge fan of the main six and I love the characters there, and, you know, I would be fine with every single episode having to do with them. And so when it kind of has this other cast of people,
Yeah.
even if I love the other cast of people, there's still the people taking away from my regular group.
Well, yeah, I think they do a lot of like one or the other. It's like it's either a main six episode or it's a Cutie Art Crusaders episode, and
There's only one instance where they kind of combined.
yeah, and
Can you remember what episode that is?
I can totally see where you're coming from with that, because it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not the same, the regular cast of characters. It's, you know, different.
The only episode where they ever combine the two together is my favorite episode, which is Cutie Mark Chronicles.
Yes.
But even that one was more focused on the main six.
Yeah.
So and the CMC were kind of used as like plot devices.
And that's how Equestria was made.
Exactly.
How about that song, the Bab's Seed song in there?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I want to actually get into that in a minute because if I talk about that song, we're going to be going for the next 15 minutes about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about for example, let's talk about the message of the thing, because it was the first time this season that there's really been a message, like it was put out there. It's like, this is a message to do with the story. And I think
Yeah.
the Cutie Art Crusaders, I keep saying Cutie Art, their freaking show's named after it. The Cutie Art Crusaders, their episodes are more focused on lessons you learn because they're obviously closer in age to the intended audience, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I thought that the lesson was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I mean, like I kind of walked into the episode because I put two and two together and figured out what the episode was about before it aired.
Mhm.
But I was kind of like, a bullying episode. Those are always like the worst ones. When you think back to like kids episodes, they're always like, even as a kid, you were like, yeah, I know this is about bullying. Thanks.
Yeah.
You kind of got the message. But I think that they did a really cool thing, and this is pointed out on Reddit, and I didn't even realize it at the time, but like they dealt with bullying in a modern way.
Mhm.
In previous shows back 5-10 years ago, they talked about the fact that like you should ignore bullies or go tell your teacher or go tell your siblings or whatever and just like ignore them. And in this one, it kind of got to the root of why someone's a bully.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And I
thought
thought that was really interesting.
When I tend to avoid spoilers, but I did go on the Wikipedia page for like the episodes, and
You fool.
I know. And I saw, basically the concept of this episode, and it turned out completely different than what I had originally thought. Like, just because there was that reasoning behind her, Babsy turning into a bully, and like I had just assumed that oh, she's actually a bad person.
Yeah, she started out bad. Like, she got off the train and then they realized, oh no, she's just like a horrible person.
Yeah.
That would be like the typical story plot, I think.
Yeah, and they totally like turned it around, and I thought they did a really good job of relaying that message.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was nice to see it come around full circle in the end with them saving her, and yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't as many, like, we were treated last week to just like a show trace vector palooza, just tons and tons of faces. And I'm not saying there weren't good faces this episode, but it's kind of a tough act to follow with 16 Pinkie Pies.
Yes.
So this episode was not quite as I don't want to say vector, because vector is not just show trace, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to say vector as in show trace.
Yeah.
It didn't have the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I keep wanting to talk about the song, but I have to remember about other things other than the song.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Pinkie Pie's lettuce.
Yes. Oh my
float.
God. You don't even notice it at first. Like,
I didn't notice it.
No,
we watched the episode together.
Yeah.
And you noticed it and I didn't.
Yeah, and I pointed it out, and you were like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
It was just Pinkie Pie in the background, like nonchalantly just driving lettuce.
This season seems to be more pun orientated.
Yeah.
Let us in. Haha, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And then
I don't know. Pinkie Pie's been the star of this season so far.
Yeah. Don't leave me.
Don't leave me. Leave.
Oh, Pinkie Pie.
They're stupid jokes, but they make me laugh. Damn it!
I know.
They make me laugh.
It's just yeah. Puns are like just so bad that they're good.
Yeah, exactly. You don't expect it out of a kids show to give you like stupid puns. They're so grown worthy. They just make you laugh.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like overall, I get the feeling that this season has really come far in terms of like that kind of humorous stuff.
I don't get what it is about this season. I don't get what it is about the show that's made it better over time. If anybody, as a kid watched the show, you'll know that like usually the second season was the best. The first season was like establishing the rules of the world, building on it and getting the basic concepts out of the way. And then the second season kind of like perfected it. And then the third season, it started to get a little bit old. And then the fourth season tried to revive it. And then it was like, okay, well, I'm telling you, you're trying to revive it. And then the fifth season like introduces a new character that you don't give a crap about.
Yeah.
And like so on and so forth. But like it's going uphill so far.
Yeah.
And it's still going, which, leads me to believe that we've got more seasons ahead of us that are good.
Yeah. I think that they've built a world where they can just keep expanding, which is huge in terms of a show.
Yeah, I think really grounding it like not on Earth.
Yeah.
Much to the dismay of many fans listening to this, I don't think it's on Earth. But like for example, in other shows, they would say like this is Earth, so they can't really go anywhere with that. Whereas here, it's just like you've got endless possibilities. The inclusion of freaking magic just gives you endless possibilities.
Yeah.
So.
And I love the fact that like the writers are actually taking the effort to, introduce continuity between seasons and episodes and everything. And I mean, sure, you have some lapses and stuff like that, but in general, like they've been pretty good in terms of keeping the characters in character and, keeping the storyline in progression and stuff like that.
If it means that if having 13 episodes means that we get episodes of this quality consistently, as opposed to 26 episodes,
yeah,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm absolutely okay with it.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, a season 4.
Well, no, they've it's not confirmed, but there was it's kind of like a revenue sheet, I believe.
Yeah.
Put out by Hasbro. It described, or was it put out by the Hub? Maybe. Anyways, it described some revenues from many of its different products, whichever company it was, and they described the creation of 4 My Little Pony seasons.
Yeah. So
either they consider season 1 and 2 4 in total, because like 13, 13, 13, 13, or there's a 4th season.
Yeah.
And they've been contracted to do 4 seasons.
And they've already started working on it, which would be awesome. But yeah,
Right.
fingers crossed.
Right.
Um,
Okay, so
song time.
that song.
Oh my god,
Holy cow.
it was.
I shut you up during it.
I know.
Because it started and it was just like, I wasn't expecting it at all. You know, I don't really expect when songs happen, but man, it was just like, so, wait, so there's a song? You were like, is Scootaloo singing? Shut up.
Scootaloo
Yes.
sang. Oh my god, like
Well, too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching the CMC voice actor panel from, I think it was EverFree Northwest, maybe.
Probably.
And Madeline Peters, who voices Scootaloo, was like, "Yeah, I had to, sing really badly because she's like actually a good singer in real life,
Mhm.
and like she had to, I don't know, do something to
Force herself to sing badly for like the theme song.
yeah."
Yeah.
But yeah, this was pretty good.
It was fantastic. I mean, it's hard to say because I don't know what my favorite MLP song would be. Love is in Bloom is just so catchy,
Yes.
and it feels so modern. But I think I might be attributing that to the remixes because Love is in Bloom is such a short song.
Mm-hmm.
So I might just go with the classic and say Winter Wrap Up. But man, that song
Yeah, it's so catchy.
gives it a run for its money. It really does.
It's so
I
hard
think
to
if
choose
it
a
without
favorite.
without the nostalgia of Winter Wrap Up, this song would be right up there.
Yeah. This song, I don't know, it reminded me of like a Whip Your Tail Back and Forth or whatever that song is called. Or like a
I whip my hair back
Hair
and
back
forth.
and-
That's the original song.
yeah.
The pony parody was Whip My Tail Back and
Yeah.
Forth.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like an SS Tricky or any of those like 90s fun poppy kids type songs.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It's so catchy. Like I've been playing it on like loop all day. So I really can't get enough of that song. And already people, well, okay. Let me talk cuz I listen to more brony music than I think any of my other co-workers or whatever the heck you guys are called.
Yeah, we're hosts, co-hosts.
Yeah, co-hosts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I keep track of that kind of stuff. Not as much as I like to anymore, but still. So Assertive Fluttershy,
Mm-hmm.
who is a fan of us, put out a remix of the song already. It's been 12 hours and the remix is already out. I mean, it's not a remix per se. It's like house music that matches the song.
Yeah.
So it like kind of changes the genre. Sim Gretton has been getting some flack because he's been doing that a lot. Just kind of like making like generic house mixes, putting them on songs. I don't know. I can see where people are coming from with that complaint, but personally, when people do that, it matches the rest of the music that's on my iPod.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more likely to put that on my iPod than the song from the show. That song was good enough to go on my iPod without any remixes, which says a lot. The only other songs that are on there without any remixes are Winter Wrap Up and Smile, Smile, Smile.
Yeah.
But that song was definitely good enough. But I don't know. It's just like you get you get a little bit more of a house feel to it, and then it matches the other music, so it's not so jarring when you get that song.
Yeah.
It's still fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, Mando Pony has already done a cover of it.
I was actually very busy today, and so
You haven't had a chance to like look at any of that stuff.
No. I haven't had a chance to rewatch the episode. I really should do that.
We both need to vector something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not much to say about the episode. Usually I don't like CMC episodes, but for the record, I think this was the best CMC episode,
Yeah, this was definitely
excluding Cutie Mark Chronicles. That doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're excluding that one, I think this was hands down my favorite Cutie Mark Crusaders episode, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, this was definitely a fun episode. Just kind of continuing with the song, just for one more point.
Sure.
I really like the visuals that they had during the song, because it was kind of like a I don't know, it was kind of a minimalistic backdrop that kept switching between that and like the real world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was
You
it was
know
kinda neat.
you know what that reminded me of, and I thought of that immediately as soon as I saw the first time. I thought of Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
That's the first thing I thought of. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's because it's got that the background kind of looks 90s or 80s the way that the old Scooby-Doo cartoon was.
Yeah.
And also just the way they were running.
Yes.
Like from like I don't know, just something in my brain went Scooby-Doo. It's just like the type of music with the background. Maybe they took inspiration from that.
Yeah, could be.
Well, Daniel Ingram has outdone himself.
Yes, he continues to.
Ridiculous.
It's like, oh my gosh, he's just been getting better and better. Like
apparently they did a hard rock version of it. Their first version of that song was a hard rock version.
Really?
Yes, and then they changed it.
I hope that leaks somehow, or they release it. Or
he's got to put it out now.
Yeah.
He can't. Okay, he went on Twitter and he was like, "So we made a hard rock version. Maybe one day I'll release it." Winky face. There's no way he can just like sit on that now.
No.
He's got to put it out.
We'll have to have a word with him.
We'll have to have a word with him. Bring your baseball bat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I was saying, that's my favorite CMC episode.
Yeah.
Which is a lot because I don't usually like CMC episodes.
Yeah.
That much.
I mean, I'm a big fan of again the Cutie Box episode, but yeah, this is definitely. I think this tops that probably.
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't like the Cutie Art Crusaders. I mean,
we're named after them. So
well, that was just a bad pun. But like Scootaloo's awesome, and Sweetie Belle is adorable, and Apple Bloom is voiced by like the coolest fan person ever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like they're awesome. I don't know, just something doesn't usually click. But in this episode, it kind of clicked.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that.
I mean, those are our
pretty
2
much wraps it up.
episodes. we had half the people and double the episodes, but we made through it.
And we did good.
We did good. All right.
Burn and Pinky Dash, you guys.
No, you guys can just
Yeah.
just don't even talk to me right now. All right, well, that's it for us. You've now been listening to our voices for half an hour or an hour and a half. What am I saying? My goodness.
Yeah.
That is insane. Thank you guys for watching all the way through the end. We hope you guys enjoy the Spoilercast. If you have any suggestions or other things about that,
help us come up with a name for the Spoilercast, because
I think Spoilercast is good,
Spoilercast
honestly.
works. But if you guys have any interesting suggestions,
If suddenly out of nowhere the most clever name ever comes up, then
Yeah.
we'll probably use it. So
yeah.
Oh, one more thing I wanted to notice. We didn't mention this during the episode yesterday when we recorded it, but the percussion brony sent us more music.
Yes.
He sent us a jazz cover of September by Living Tombstone, and it's really awesome, and you can hear it in the episode, and in fact, I'm probably going to put it on right now. You can hear it. I just wanted to mention the percussion brony because he consistently makes awesome music for us, and our shows would be a lot more boring without his music to kind of give it some tone and give it some mood.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I gotta remember to keep thanking him for that because we use his music every single week, and I forget to occasionally.
Yeah, no, seriously, you do an awesome job, and we love you.
Yep.
For that. It's
all right. Well,
amazing.
that's the end of the episode. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 23.
Awesome.